K-dramas have this very specific power to make completely ordinary food look like the most important thing that has ever existed. We are going through 19 food and mukbang moments that have been doing that to viewers for years. Eat something before you press play on this one. You have been warned. So Hyunjin's mukbang in another Miss O. There is a version of eating on screen that is neat, photogenic, and completely unconvincing. And then there is Hyunjin in another Miss O, who throws that version out entirely. When her character is stressed or completely falling apart, she does not pick at food. She goes to the kitchen, pulls out whatever is in the fridge, and attacks a giant bowl of bibimbap with a metal spoon like the bowl personally offended her. Cheeks stuffed, chewing fast, sauce going everywhere. Fan forums have been citing these scenes for years as some of the most honest eating on Korean television, and that honesty is exactly what makes them work. There is nothing polished about it. There is no idle diet restraint. It is a woman eating her feelings with full commitment, and it makes you want to get up and raid your kitchen immediately. Joo Won's mukbang in Good Doctor. Park Shion.
오늘 화제의 영상입니다.
The character Joo Won plays in Good Doctor has a very particular relationship with food. Not elaborate food, not restaurant food, the simple things. And the way Joo Won plays those moments, with this slow, deliberate, completely unguarded happiness, turns a $2 snack into something that looks like the most satisfying meal ever filmed. There is a scene where he shares a simple meal with a colleague after a hard shift, and the gratitude on his face for something that basic is quietly devastating in the best possible way. The show figured out something that more ambitious food dramas sometimes miss. The food does not need to be impressive. The feeling does. Tae Hee's mukbang in Hi Bye Mama. "5 years as a ghost. 5 years of watching the living eat while she could not touch any of it." So when Tae Hee's character gets a temporary return to the living world, her first priority is not her family, not her husband, not catching up on what she missed. It is food. She eats all of it with the specific desperation of someone who has been waiting half a decade for this exact moment, and the euphoria on her face is so complete and so contagious that early episode viewer reactions were full of people admitting they had already opened a food delivery app before the first commercial break. Tae Hee is known for playing composed, elegant characters. This is not that. This is a woman who has been waiting 5 years and is not wasting a single bite. The next drama approaches food from almost the opposite angle. Dinner Mate. Where most food dramas use eating as comedy or spectacle, Dinner Mate uses it as emotional language. Two people who are each working through heartbreak and loneliness discover that sharing a meal is the most honest form of connection they have access to. The cinematography treats every dish like it deserves the full attention it gets. International fans responded strongly to how the show reframed communal dining, the idea that eating together is not just practical but genuinely therapeutic. The cast eats with a focused, appreciative calm that somehow makes you more aware of the texture and weight of every dish on screen than any high-energy mukbang ever could. It is a very different kind of hunger this one creates. But after all that calm, number 15 is the exact opposite. Seul's mukbang in Couple or Trouble. Seul plays an arrogant heiress who gets amnesia and ends up in a working-class life she has no framework for. Her first encounter with jjajangmyeon, cheap, glossy, instant black bean noodles, is the scene that Korean television fans still talk about over a decade later. She mixes those noodles with the aggressive focus of someone who has never done this before and does not know there are rules. Black bean sauce ends up on her face. She does not stop. She does not care. She keeps eating. Korean variety shows still parody the specific way she mixed that bowl. Fan edits still circulate on TikTok. The sheer contrast of her face, her image, her whole character against the chaotic reality of a bowl of cheap noodles getting absolutely everywhere is a piece of K-drama food history. You cannot watch it without immediately wanting jjajangmyeon, boys over flowers.
맛있다.
The wealthy characters in Boys Over Flowers treat ordinary food like an anthropological discovery, and that contrast is the running joke that never gets old. These are people who have presumably never stood at a street stall, never eaten from a paper cup, never had to decide between two things at a convenience store because budget was a factor. And then Korean street food enters their lives and systematically dismantles everything. Fish cake skewers, instant ramyun, pojangmatcha snacks eaten standing up in the cold. Jandi is always right there in the middle of it, completely unbothered, already eating, showing them exactly how it is done without saying a word about it. The high society manners disappear. The dignity goes with them. What is left is just people eating something delicious and forgetting for a minute that they were supposed to be above it. That specific dynamic across every food scene in this drama is still one of the most satisfying recurring beats in K-drama history. Yoon and Hae's Mukbang in Coffee Prince.
고봉이에요. 피자 먹고 싶으면 배달해서 먹으면 되지. 왜 나한테 시켜?
Coffee Prince is not a food drama, and yet Yoon and Hae's eating scenes in it became a foundational reference point for how eating on Korean television could look and feel. Her character Go In-chun is a breadwinner working multiple jobs, and her relationship with food reflects exactly that, unpretentious, fast, and completely serious. The legendary jjajangmyeon scene, where she demolishes two family-sized bowls in what appears to be a competitive eating situation, is still cited on drama forums as one of the great eating performances on Korean television. She does not perform hunger, she just eats. Giant bites, full cheeks, zero concern for how it looks. The joy is real enough that it travels directly through the screen. Coffee Prince did a lot of things well. Teaching an entire generation of K-drama viewers what honest eating on screen could look like was one of them. Now we go from noodles to a royal palace where the food has an entirely different kind of weight. Bon appetit, Your Majesty. Yoona plays Chef Jun Ji Hyun, a French-trained culinary competition winner who time-slips from 2025 into the Joseon dynasty and has to cook for King Lee-hun, a tyrant with a dangerously refined palate. The premise sounds like a lot of setup. The food scenes are where it all pays off. What the show does brilliantly is place genuinely modern technique against ancient ingredients and tools and let the contrast do the work. Watching a character who just won a competition in France figure out how to approximate what she knows using clay pots, open flames, and Joseon-era seasonings creates a visual tension that makes every dish feel like a problem being solved in real time. The king's reaction when something works, that moment where the tyrant's face changes and the room goes quiet, is one of the most satisfying recurring beats in recent K-drama food television. It earned the highest domestic ratings of any TVN drama in 2025. The food is a significant reason why. And the next drama also involves a palace, but with a very different kind of energy, Mr. Queen. Mr. Queen puts a modern chef's consciousness inside a Joseon queen's body and then watches what happens when 21st century food knowledge collides with a 19th century kitchen. The answer is chaos, comedy, and some of the most creative food sequences in recent K-drama history. The scenes where the character improvises historical versions of potato chips, hand-beaten milk tea, and gourmet noodles using only what the palace kitchen has available became genuine fan moments, with viewers debating whether the recipes would actually work. The kitchen staff, trained in rigid royal protocol, being treated like line cooks in a busy modern restaurant is the sustained joke the show runs on. And the satisfaction when something clicks, when the modern knowledge and the ancient tools finally produce something that works, lands every time. The Legend of Kitchen Soldier. Park Ji-hoon plays Kang Sang-jae, a young man from a difficult background who enlists after losing his father and ends up assigned to the military cafeteria kitchen. Then a game-like holographic quest system appears, visible only to him, turning every cooking challenge into a mission with stakes attached. Complete the quest, level up as a cook, fail, and things get complicated. The show is a 2026 TVN production that quietly built a devoted following by doing something the premise does not immediately suggest. It takes the food seriously. The improvised feasts Song-jae pulls together under military inspection conditions, cooking for hundreds of soldiers with limited supplies and a 72-hour deadline, are gripping in a way that straightforward cooking competitions rarely are. Park Ji-hoon carries both the comedy and the grief of the character simultaneously, and the food scenes are where those two things meet. Military ration cooking has never been this watchable. Shin Mina's mukbang in My Girlfriend is a Gumiho.
다 익었다.
A nine-tailed fox sealed inside a painting for 500 years gets released into the modern world, and her single most urgent priority is beef. Not any beef. Hanhu, premium Korean beef, the best available, and she wants it constantly, immediately, and in large quantities. Shin Mina plays this obsession with a physical commitment that made "Wunga, buy me meat" one of the most quoted lines in Kdrama fan culture for years after the show aired. The second she smells a grill warming up, something changes in her entire face and body. She reaches onto a scorching barbecue surface with her bare hands because waiting for tongs is not something she is willing to do. The comedy is perfectly timed, the hunger is completely convincing, and every scene where premium Korean barbecue ends up on screen because of her specific demands makes you want to find the nearest grill spot immediately. Quick pause. Which food moment on this list made you actually get up and order something? Drop it in the comments. I want to know. Jun Ji Hyun's mukbang in My Love from the Star.
아주 그냥 어머니 손맛이 짱이시네요. 너무 맛있다.
Jun Ji Hyun delivers with the kind of certainty that makes you feel like you have been doing something wrong your entire life. The scene is simple. Chun Song-yi is emotional, slightly drunk, and completely committed to her meal. That combination turned out to be enough. What makes her food scenes work across this entire drama is that she never treats eating as background activity. Whether it is street snacks, convenience store food, or a full meal eaten alone at home, she brings the same total focus to all of it. The food always feels like the most important thing happening in the scene, even when it is not. That quality is rare, and My Love from the Star gives it more screen time than almost any other drama she has been in. True beauty.
맛있는데? 이렇게 맛있는 걸 맨날 남겨서 버리냐?
설마.
맛있어, 맛있어.
The core group in True Beauty has a home base, and it is a small tteokbokki shop where they process everything: school stress, relationship problems, the general chaos of being a teenager. The food is not the point. The food is the container for everything else. But the way they eat it, fast, competitive, getting bright red sauce everywhere while talking over each other, makes those scenes some of the most purely enjoyable in the show. What the drama gets right is how specific this kind of eating is. You eat differently with your closest people than you eat anywhere else. You eat faster. You reach across each other. You do not wait. The tteokbokki scenes capture that specific dynamic so accurately that they became a reference point for fans talking about what it actually feels like to have that kind of friendship. Let's eat. This is the one, the holy trilogy. the show that did not just feature good food scenes, but built an entire philosophy around them. The premise is simple. Neighbors who live alone team up to order large enough quantities to justify the good stuff. What surrounds that premise is elaborate, passionate, and completely serious. Before a single bite is taken in any episode, characters deliver formal speeches on the correct way to approach a dish. The structural integrity of the soy-marinated raw crab, the precise method for cracking into a lobster without losing anything. The cinematography pioneered what became the standard K-drama food visual language: ASMR crunches, slow-motion steam, lingering shots of sauces catching the light. If you can watch the characters work through a bubbling hot pot or a platter of grilled meat without immediately looking up the nearest Korean restaurant, you have a level of self-control this show was specifically designed to defeat. Wok of Love. High-flame wok tossing, glossy jjajangmyeon, ultra-crispy tangsuyuk, delicate dim sum at scale. Wok of Love operates at the intersection of professional cooking spectacle and completely genuine enthusiasm. And the result is a drama where the food has a physical presence that most shows cannot manage. The characters eat with a passionate intensity that makes the dish in front of them feel like the most important object in the room. The chopstick handling in the eating scenes has the same dramatic weight as the action beats in other genres of K-drama. You notice it. The Chinese-Korean fusion food this show centers on is not what most K-drama food moments feature. And that specificity, the tangsuyuk sauce hitting crispy pork at exactly the right moment, is a big part of why these scenes register the way they do. Hospital playlist. The 5 surgeons in Hospital playlist are serious, careful, professional people. And then the takeout arrives, and all of that disappears. The second the fried chicken boxes or jjajangmyeon containers hit the table, the hierarchy evaporates and it becomes every person for themselves. The running joke is how fast they eat, how determined the silence is, how the container of fried chicken that looked generous at the start of the scene is somehow already gone. The drama captures something very specific about how close friendships actually work around food. You have to be fast or you lose your share, and everyone knows this and nobody mentions it. It is comforting and funny and completely real in a way that makes you want to order a family-sized box of fried chicken and invite your 5 closest people over. Jun Ji Hyun's Mukbang masterclass in Legend of the Blue Sea.
우리 이제 많이 친해진 것 같다. 오 마이 갓.
Every Jun Ji Hyun eating scene operates on the same frequency. Total abandon, zero performance, food getting everywhere. It does not matter what she is eating. Cake, street snacks, noodles. The reaction is always the same and it is always completely convincing. This is not something she developed for Legend of the Blue Sea. It is a consistent quality across her career that makes her one of the most watchable people on screen the second food appears. The reason it works is that she never looks like she is performing eating. She looks like she is actually eating, which sounds simple and turns out to be rare. The mermaid premise in Legend of the Blue Sea gave that quality a specific framing, a character for whom food is entirely new and every bite is the first, that elevated what she already did naturally into something iconic. Lee Sung-kyung's Mukbang in Weightlifting Fairy Kim Bak-ju.
선생님이 편하게 잘 그려주시고 아니야 학교에서 별로 안 멀어 그 왜 예전에
Competitive collegiate weightlifter Kim Bak-ju has one operating philosophy around food, and it is this: eat everything, eat it in the correct order, and eat it with full commitment. She plays her with a fierce, joyful, completely unapologetic hunger that makes every single meal scene in this drama feel like a small celebration. The BFRR system, which the show introduces and the internet immediately institutionalized, is the correct order for approaching a Korean barbecue buffet. Barbecue first, then fried meat, then rice, then cold noodles, ramyeon to finish. It is explained in the drama with the same seriousness that the characters bring to athletic competition. Fans did not treat it as a joke. They took it to actual Korean barbecue restaurants and reported back on whether it worked. It did. She commits to every meal in this drama the same way her character commits to lifting. There is no such thing as a meal that does not matter. And then there is number one, the one that gave the world a system. Hyeri's mukbang in My Roommate is a Gumiho.
우와.
Lee Hyeri has a jaw that fan communities have been discussing for years, and My Roommate is a Gumiho gives it a full showcase. Her character accidentally swallows a fox bead and starts experiencing supernatural food cravings she satisfies with complete authority. Entire pork belly wraps, the kind that most people would cut in half, go into her mouth in one clean motion. Mountains of braised short ribs disappear with a focused efficiency that looks less like eating and more like a professional athletic event. The internet has documented these scenes extensively. There are compilation videos. There are slow-motion replays. The infectious happiness on her face while chewing is so complete that it reads as completely unperformed even in the middle of a fantasy plot about supernatural fox energy. Every time she sits down to eat in this show, the audience knows they are about to watch something that is going to make them immediately hungry. Which food moment on this list had you ordering something before the scene was even over? Drop the drama title in the comments. If you want to see the actual couples behind some of these dramas, go check out our previous video on confirmed K-drama couples.